Hollywood's golden era gave us more than just timeless film classics. It introduced us to mesmerizing actors whose faces lit up cinema screens everywhere. But what if the movies you love only scratch the surface of their real-life stories? In this video, we're unveiling little-known secrets that emerged only after these iconic figures were gone. From shocking confessions hidden in private journals to truths carefully concealed behind the glitz and glam, you'll discover the twists and turns that even the tabloids missed. By sticking around, you'll hear about secret affairs, guarded health battles, and explosive revelations that rewrite everything we thought we knew about classic Hollywood legends. Get ready for a fascinating look at the hidden lives behind the curtain. Audrey Hepburn's luminous presence in classic cinema often overshadows her extraordinary early life. Growing up in the Netherlands during World War II, she bravely supported the Dutch resistance by performing clandestine dance shows to raise funds for refugees. Following the war, her career soared when novelist Colette insisted she star in the Broadway adaptation of Gigi, which led to her Academy Award-winning role in Roman Holiday. Hepburn's elegance and philanthropic spirit left an indelible mark on Hollywood, yet one of her deepest wounds remained hidden for decades: her father's sudden abandonment when she was only 6. In a 1992 interview, she admitted the emotional trauma lingered throughout her life, fueling insecurities behind her poised exterior. Ultimately, the beloved star succumbed to a rare form of cancer known as appendiceal cancer, but not before dedicating her later years to UNICEF. Even in her final days, she carried the heartbreak of her past while uplifting others. Her legacy resonates with audiences worldwide. Anthony Perkins became synonymous with the horror genre after his unforgettable role as Norman Bates in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, a film that brought psychological chills to classic cinema. Behind the haunting performance was an actor deeply private about his personal life, especially regarding his sexuality. At a time when Hollywood demanded a conventional leading man image, Perkins discreetly navigated relationships with both men and women. It wasn't until much later that glimpses of these complexities emerged. More hidden still was his battle with AIDS. Diagnosed in the late 1980s, Perkins sought treatments under aliases to avoid tabloid headlines. When he died in 1992, his wife revealed to the public that complications from AIDS had taken his life, news that startled many who had followed his career without suspecting his condition. Perkins left behind a legacy marked by subtlety and depth, both in his acting and in the choices he made to protect his privacy in an industry where secrets rarely stayed hidden for long. Joan Crawford, one of classic Hollywood's most iconic actresses, was born Lucille Fay LeSueur. She signed with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer in 1925, quickly rising to stardom with her fierce screen presence. Beyond her film credits, Crawford was famed for her charitable initiatives, including privately adopting 5 children throughout her lifetime. She also engaged in a famous feud with fellow legend Bette Davis. However, shocking revelations surfaced only a year after her death on May 10, 1977, when her daughter Christina published the explosive memoir, Mommy Dearest. The book recounted night raids, physical violence, and emotional torment, painting a far darker image than Crawford's polished public persona. According to Christina, even minor disobediences led to brutal consequences, once leaving her fearing she might be choked out. Crawford reportedly starved her daughter for days over an undercooked steak, illustrating the extreme lengths she took to maintain control. While fans once admired Crawford's glamour and talent, the allegations that followed her passing continue to spark debate about her complex legacy. Bob Crane won viewers over as the charismatic Colonel Hogan in the hit TV series Hogan's Heroes, where his comedic timing and easygoing charm seemed a perfect match for primetime audiences. Yet when Crane was found brutally murdered in 1978, his secret double life surfaced, shocking both fans and investigators. Inside his apartment, authorities discovered a staggering volume of homemade adult photographs and videotapes, revealing that Crane's off-camera pursuits were far from his family-friendly on-screen persona. He had a long history of recording intimate encounters, often with the assistance of his friend John Carpenter, who would later become the prime suspect in Crane's unsolved murder. Rumors circulated about potential blackmail, jealousy, or revenge as motives. Although Carpenter stood trial, he was ultimately acquitted due to insufficient evidence. Decades later, Crane's murder remains shrouded in speculation, with new theories occasionally resurfacing. Even so, this once celebrated actor is now remembered just as much for the troubling enigma surrounding his final days as for his comedic talent. Marlon Brando redefined the art of acting in Hollywood with his method approach, quickly skyrocketing to fame in movies like A Streetcar Named Desire and The Godfather. Born in 1924, he soared above the typical leading man mold, mesmerizing audiences with an intensity that set a new standard. Off-screen, he was compelling, outspoken on social issues, and openly alluding to his fluid sexuality during an era when such confessions were rare. But it wasn't until 2018, 14 years after his death from respiratory failure, that a revelation emerged. Musician Quincy Jones claimed Brando had slept with several famous men, including the comedian Richard Pryor. While fans debated the rumor, Pryor's widow publicly confirmed the fling, revealing that Brando's openness went beyond mere hinting. Some diaries hinted at further same-gender encounters, though exact details remain elusive. Even in death, Brando's fearless honesty and controversial exploits continue to fascinate, reminding us that his influence transcends cinema's boundaries. Decades after his passing, rumors of his private escapades still persist. Clark Gable was once hailed as the king of Hollywood, starring in classic films like Gone with the Wind that solidified his status as cinema royalty. His rugged charm and confident demeanor defined an entire era of on-screen masculinity, yet much of his private life remained under wraps during his lifetime. After his sudden death from a heart attack in 1960, a shocking revelation emerged. Gable had secretly fathered a child with actress Loretta Young while filming Call of the Wild in 1935. At the time, such a scandal threatened both their careers, so Young publicly maintained she had adopted her daughter. It wasn't until years later that she confirmed the truth in a posthumous biography, revealing the lengths both stars had gone to in order to protect their reputations. Gable's off-screen affair offered a glimpse into a more vulnerable side of a man otherwise known for his brash confidence. Even now, his enduring legacy continues to spark intrigue among fans of Hollywood's golden era. Laurence Olivier was a titan of both stage and film, celebrated for performances in classics like Hamlet and Richard III. As an actor, he introduced a dynamic, psychologically charged style that reshaped Shakespeare's presence on cinema screens. Yet beneath that esteemed reputation lay personal demons he kept largely under wraps. In his youth, Olivier reportedly endured the traumatic advances of a schoolteacher, leaving him with haunting memories and a complicated relationship to his craft. Some biographers suggest this early ordeal contributed to the stomach-churning stage fright he would battle later in life, driving him to perfectionism. His marriage to Vivien Leigh, itself a legendary Hollywood partnership, was affected by her mental health struggles, adding further complexity to Olivier's private sphere. Despite these burdens, he pressed on to become one of the most respected performers of the 20th century. It was only after his death in 1989, however, that accounts of his harrowing childhood and profound insecurities gave fans a fuller picture of his extraordinary life. Mary Tyler Moore was the bright, smiling face of American television, capturing hearts first as Laura Petrie on The Dick Van Dyke Show and later in her own groundbreaking sitcom, The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Born in 1936, she ushered in a new era for women on TV by portraying characters who were both independent and warmly relatable. Yet behind the sunny on-screen persona, Moore struggled with the complications of type 1 diabetes, a condition she kept largely private. Over time, it severely deteriorated her eyesight, an issue she managed in near secrecy. After her death in 2017 at age 80, her husband Robert Levine revealed just how close she had come to complete blindness. That revelation cast new light on the resilience she displayed throughout her career, even as she carried personal challenges. In her honor, Levine founded the Mary Tyler Moore Vision Initiative, which continues her mission of supporting diabetes research. Ultimately, Moore's legacy transcends comedy, reflecting a life of courage and advocacy. Rock Hudson represented the quintessential leading man in classic Hollywood movies, radiating charm opposite actresses like Doris Day in light-hearted romances. Yet behind his charismatic on-screen persona, he quietly wrestled with the challenges of concealing his true self. Industry pressures and widespread intolerance led Hudson to hide his sexuality, fearing it would derail his rising star in the 1950s and 1960s cinema. Ultimately, his private life came into full view when he was diagnosed with an illness that few fully understood at the time: AIDS. Public appearances revealed a gaunt, weakened figure, sparking intense media speculation. Only then did Hudson confirm he had the disease, quickly becoming one of the first high-profile actors to do so. Despite personal struggles, Hudson maintained a dignified composure, drawing sympathy and shedding light on the realities of a misunderstood condition. When he died in 1985, the flood of tributes underscored the affection fans felt for him, while also highlighting the weighty secret he'd carried throughout his career. David Cassidy skyrocketed to fame as the teenage heartthrob of the Partridge Family, his face adorning countless magazine covers during the early 1970s. Behind the perfectly orchestrated image, however, Cassidy fought private battles that would later unravel in shocking ways. In early 2017, he announced he was grappling with dementia, pointing to a painful family history of the same illness. Yet after his death in November of that year, a sobering confession emerged. He had lied about the diagnosis, concealing severe alcoholism that caused his liver to fail. Close friends and relatives noted how Cassidy's dependence on alcohol periodically disrupted his life, undermining attempts at sobriety. Footage from his final performances, where he forgot lyrics on stage, circulated online, fueling speculation about his health. In the end, Cassidy admitted in a candid documentary that he had misled even his family about his drinking. That late revelation offered a bittersweet ending to the life of a performer whose public persona clashed with hidden vulnerabilities. Hollywood's golden era wasn't just about glamorous films and iconic actors. It was a time filled with hidden truths and surprising revelations. As we've seen, even the brightest stars had secrets lurking behind classic cinema's curtain. Thank you for exploring these fascinating untold stories with us. Don't forget to subscribe for more intriguing journeys through Hollywood history.